to the Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Today, friends, we have another exciting guest on this podcast, like we tend to. His name is Steven, and he's going to tell us about what party he represents, what race he's running for, and all the reflections and activities and thoughts that go into such things. So kindly join me in welcoming Steven to the podcast. Welcome, Steven.
Hey, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Please tell us what party you represent.
I am with the Libertarian Party of Nevada.
Great. And what race are you running for?
I'm running for Clark County Recorder.
Awesome. I look forward to speaking with you about that and all the details. So please tell us a brief background about yourself.
Well, see, I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama. I grew up out there. I recently moved to Las Vegas around 5 years ago.
Okay.
I love it. I come from a sales background. I've worked in sales management from phone sales to car sales to solar sales. Here recently, the last 2 years, I have been a professional poker player, which is, I do love Las Vegas. but yeah, and I've always been a libertarian. I registered as a libertarian as soon as I moved out here to Las Vegas, Nevada. I was super excited to be able to register as a libertarian. And yeah, I've been here recently. I just became the vice chair of the Clark County Libertarians. And so it's been a great experience. It's a great party out here. And I just love the city and I love the people in it.
Oh, great. So, a professional poker player, how did you get into that? That's an interesting profession.
Oh yeah, I will say when I was a kid, I really loved watching it on TV. My mom, when the big poker boom happened after Chris Moneymaker won in 2003, he was an amateur player, ended up winning millions of dollars off like a $60 satellite. So the poker boom happened. Everybody wanted to play online poker, everything like that. And my mom, she even, got into it, played a little bit of online poker, not a lot, but a little bit. And so then she taught me how to play. And then, as I got older, I kind of forgot about poker. But then one day I remember I was like, I kind of just want to go play a little bit. And I went and played, and I made a pretty decent amount of money. And I was like, oh, dang, I can do this. And then when COVID happened, though, I couldn't play anymore, obviously. And I was living actually in California at the time. And I was like, no, and I just want to move to Las Vegas. I want to, see if I can actually do this, see if I can become a professional poker player. And I moved out to Las Vegas, and it took me 3 years to actually do it. I've only been playing for the last 2 years for a living. But it's a great experience. It's a roller coaster, but it is like the only job where you get true freedom. You know what I mean?
Interesting. So like between the sessions, you practice a lot and you learn about cards and stuff like that?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I always say the best experience you get is playing.
Okay.
So yeah, you got to make mistakes to learn about what to do and what not to do. And yeah, I would say it's definitely an interesting living, but I promise you it's up and down. When I tell people I play poker for a living, sometimes they think I'm like a millionaire, but I do tell them I'm like a middle class poker player. You know what I mean?
Okay. So in a way,
with the huh?
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Please go ahead.
Oh yeah, but I was like, but with the campaign, I haven't really been playing that much. Funny enough, I had a dealer call me up like 2 months ago, and he said, "Hey, where you been at?" And I'm like, "Man, I've been just campaigning. I've been having to do a lot of work. I got a lot of friends who came in for the World Series of Poker, and even they're like, "Hey, Steve, where you at, man?" And I'm like, I got a campaign. I got to get my name out here. I'm a libertarian. I have to work twice as hard."
Oh, sure. So would you say that sales is like poker in the sense that there's ups and downs?
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. Yeah, with sales and poker where there are ups and downs, where there's slower months. But I also say it translates to like reading people to where like I know where I'm at in the sale. That's what I used to teach a lot of my younger salespeople who never sold before. I was like, just pay attention to body language to see if they're comfortable with you, because they're only going to buy from you if they're comfortable with you and they feel like they trust you.
Okay. And it sounds like that is something that would translate well into being a political candidate, right?
Oh, 100%. And yeah, because, again, you kind of feel where you are, especially when you're talking to people. Like even giving speeches, a lot of people have given me credit for my speeches. They're like, "Oh, you're a really good speaker. You speak very well." And I'm like, it all came from sales, you know.
Wow.
Everything I've learned when it came to giving speeches and public speaking all came from sales.
Great. Yeah, sales is a great profession. It's not for everyone for sure. It's a great profession.
Oh, 100%.
So please tell us more about what a recorder does in Nevada. There's similar positions in other states, yet each state has differences. So please tell us what a recorder does in Nevada.
Yeah, so what the Clark County Recorder does is we deal with deeds, liens, reconveyances, trust, even veterans' DD-214s, people's homesteads. So we record those documents for the public record. Essentially, we record it, we preserve it to make sure that it is public record now.
Okay.
And that's not an exciting position, but I will say it's an important position. Like when back in 2022, it was reported that the office was 10 years behind in verifying and indexing records.
Oh, no.
So when that happens, it leads to false liens getting put on properties. It makes property fraud even easier to do. And so what I wanted to do and what made me decide to run was I know that sometimes their biggest investment is going to be their property. That's going to be the biggest investment of their life. And nobody should have that taken away because the recorder didn't do their job well.
Exactly. Good point. Okay, wow. So how are you going to use your libertarian vision and otherwise get this department up to speed so that it's current, or at least a lot closer to being current?
Yeah, of course. So what I want to do to get us back to speed is set goals. I learned in sales that people really do better when you set goals. Because when I first started in sales management, I remember like we would set monthly goals. And
Yes.
yeah, sometimes you would see people kind of like at the end of the month start trying because at the end of the day, they weren't worried about their goals until the end of the month. So what I started doing was setting daily goals. How many, because then it motivates people to hit that goal. So I do want to set goals. I want to make sure we do routine audits so we can catch anything we can catch that we've done anything wrong before it actually affects anyone. As well as I want to expand the RNS service. The RNS service is the recording notification service.
Okay.
It's essentially if anything's ever recorded under your property, if it's recorded under your name or your property, you get an email letting you know that it happened. But the problem with that is, as a former car salesman, I will tell you, nobody checks their emails. So what I want to do is essentially expand it to text messaging so people have real-time alerts. The moment something's put under your name, you receive a text message. And if it's fraudulent, we can catch it way sooner.
Okay. So given with all the technology we have these days, first of all, is the way that it is in Nevada, is that typical, or is there a major problem there? See, I'm not familiar with the nuts and bolts of the other similar position in other states. So would you say this is worse in other states, or is this the typical situation?
We are definitely, our recorder's office is definitely one of the worst in the country. But when it comes to technology, we do have some. Like, I will give credit to the current recorder who is retiring now, is that she did expand kiosks. So people in like Mesquite, Laughlin, Boulder City, who usually have to drive anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour and a half one way and then 45 minutes to an hour and a half back just to get a simple record, they can now do most of it at the kiosk.
Okay.
So I will give them credit on that. But when it comes to like the website is very outdated. It's not mobile friendly. And the problem with that is essentially it kind of confuses seniors. Even with the kiosk, it confuses seniors. When they have to use it, they're not too sure on how to go about it. We need to have a system where we can explain and help them more often and have more staff at these Mesquite, Laughlin locations so that we can give the seniors the help that they need because they are the most vulnerable to property fraud.
Okay. Sounds good. So an overhaul of the website will make things faster, and then it should, in the future, make the process be more timely.
Exactly. Be more timely, be more efficient. And also, if we move more to the digital side of things, instead of, because there are plenty of paper records that they still have in the recorder's office. Of
Okay.
course, that's mostly from like the 80s, like the 50 to the 80s, anything from like before then. But a lot of these, like a lot of counties have already moved those records to digital. So I feel like we need to work on moving every record to digital, where it's easier to search, easier to find. It's already public record. But I also do want to put pressure on our politicians to end name-based searches, because I do believe name-based searches are pointless. If you're looking for a property record, you can always look it up through the address or the parcel number. So
Okay.
I do want to stop the name-based searches. Obviously, I have to go through the state to do that. But if a libertarian can actually win a county-wide race in the 5th largest county in the United States, I do believe that's a referendum on people wanting to end name-based searches, because we're just putting people at risk just because they bought a home.
Oh, like people can dox them if they find out, if they know their name, they can search and get their address.
100%. You can get their address. You can actually see if what liens have been put on the home, which is totally fine because that is public record. But we do need to end the name-based searches just because you're putting people at risk for no reason. Because if somebody really needs a property document, they can easily just search it through the address, search it through the parcel number, and find the address.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. Sounds like a great way to improve things. So
Thank you.
yeah, so given that some of the are each of the areas of the county doing things, like some of them are up to speed more like our current, and like you said, some of them are using paper records like in the 80s. So are you wanting to standardize the way it's processed?
Yes, 100%. I do. Because I always say this too. It feels like the recorder's office is still stuck in the 20th century, and while we're living in the 21st century. And what I mean by that is essentially when Debbie Conway, the current recorder, she is retiring this year, but she's been in this office for 20 years. So essentially, she hasn't really modernized the office too well. I do give her credit for starting the RNS service, where it is that email, where it is the email only if anything's recorded in your name. That was a great idea. But to be honest, I'm like, we're in 2026. We should have been expanded this to text messaging. There's no reason for us to be 10 years behind. There's 60 employees that work in the office. And she even has contractors working in the office as well that aren't employees, but they're former employees who now are getting a pension and are now getting paid a six-figure salary as well as receiving their pension. So there's a lot of issues that need to be fixed. Like I do want to get rid of the contractors. I do want to have just employees. They're making the effort, but there's no reason we should be behind. They get a $10 million annual budget. We're living in the 21st century. We can email most of the things over. Like I talk to people in Mesquite, Laughlin, who are an hour and a half away, and I tell them, like, why aren't most records able to be emailed over? Because most records, there are some that they do email over, but why are most records not? Like most of the time, they're simple records like deeds, things of that nature. And the only answer I could come up with, or from people I've talked to in the office, is essentially they want to charge you per copy. They don't want you making your own copies and things of that nature when they want to sell you each copy that you make.
Oh,
And at the end of
sure.
the day, the office gets a $10 million annual budget. It has about $18.5 million in revenue that the office gets, but that goes back to the county. But there's just no reason at all that we shouldn't have any backlogs, especially with that many employees. I've ran teams smaller, and we've done more than that.
Okay. So do you want to allow people the ability to make their own copies so they don't have to pay the fees that are higher for the county?
Yes, and the thing is too, is that no matter what, they will always have to pay a copy. It's written in Nevada state law. Like even if I emailed the record over, you still have to pay for one copy. But at
Okay.
least if you make 10 copies of that document, you use your own ink, you use your own printer. Yeah, you should only have to pay for one copy because you use your own ink, you use your own printer, and things of that nature.
Okay, that sounds good. So earlier you mentioning that you want to put goals, give people goals, daily goals.
Yes.
So are the employees going to be able to be paid on commission if they're state employees, or how are you going to do that within the constraints of a government entity?
Well, essentially, mostly just performance goals. There wouldn't be any commission or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
They'd still keep their salaries, everything like that, but I want to see performance goals. Essentially, because if you're getting, people at the recorder's office, they're making pretty good money. They've got a government job. It's safe. But if they're not doing their job, and I can see that in the performance numbers, then, just like in sales, I had to let a lot of good salespeople go, mostly because it was goal oriented. And even me, when I was a salesperson, I had to hit my goals. If I didn't hit my goals, I lost my job. But when I was a manager, I was really good about it. I always gave people 2 months. I believed if you couldn't hit your goal 2 months in a row, then you just weren't trying, or you weren't trying to work for it. So I do believe with performance goals and those being available on the public dashboard so people can actually see how the office is actually working for them, I think that would create a lot more transparency, and we would actually get people who want to work in the office there instead of getting rid of the people who don't want to be there anymore.
Okay. Does the people that they hire, is there any special qualifications?
Essentially, to that nature, I would say yes, there probably are some qualifications, at least from Debbie Conway's standpoint. I'm not too sure on her hiring process on what she did in the recorder's office,
Okay.
but I will say this. There is an active lawsuit going on right now by an employee in the recorder's office. She's worked there 15 years, and she's suing the office. She alleged discrimination. Her name is Skyberry Burris. And she ran for the Democrat ticket. She did lose her primary, but she was on the Democrat ticket running for recorder as well. And so with that being said, when there's like lawsuits going on in the office, you see the culture is really bad in the office, and I believe the lawsuit proves that.
Sure.
That we need somebody from the outside to come in and fix the office, because the Democrat who won the primary, she's worked in the office. She got the recorder's endorsement. She's actually the reason why Sky is suing the office, because she got the promotion over Sky. And Sky has been there a longer time, and things of that nature. So I do see that there's a bad culture fit in the office, and that's definitely going to need to be fixed, with a new recorder in there. What I'm most afraid about is that we do elect Tanya and we get the same continuation of Debbie Conway, where we get a recorder that doesn't care. We're going to keep getting more backlogs, and people are going to have their properties put even more at risk. And that's why I knew I had to run.
Oh, great. So in Nevada, what's the ballot access process for alternative parties?
It's actually, I would say Nevada is one of the more fair states when it does come to third parties. I've even tried to get the Green Party to try to get ballot access, but they just don't seem to be as motivated to do it. But essentially what the process is, you do file yourself as a party. To maintain ballot access, you have to either have 1% of the 1% of the electorate register as a Libertarian or a third party, or if you run people as candidates, your candidates get a 1% total. So you get 1% of the vote of the total of candidates that you run. And essentially how we've been able to maintain ballot access is because of our candidates getting around 1%, 2%, things of that nature. Because right now I do believe our registered total, I think we're only at like 0.6% of the electorate registered as Libertarians. But thankfully we do end up getting enough votes to keep ballot access.
Oh, great. Good job. Well done.
Thank you.
So it sounds like in Nevada, in your county at least, it's a lot of rural area that, because you said that people have to drive a long distance to conduct their business. Is that true? Am I perceiving it correctly?
I mean, you're not totally wrong. I mean, Clark County, we are kind of big cities when you count like Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, and even Henderson. Those are some of the biggest cities in the state. We're actually, and yeah, I mean, 73% of the population of Nevada lives here in Clark County.
Oh, okay, so
But there are rural areas like Mesquite, Laughlin, so where they're on the outer edge. Like Mesquite's kind of like going towards Utah, and of course you have like little other towns that separate that too that are a little bit more rural. But there are rural areas. It's just not. I wouldn't say like most of the counties, here in Las Vegas, Henderson, and things of that nature. Because like I love campaigning in Mesquite. I love campaigning in Laughlin because it does bring me back to that Alabama feel because it is like a small city. And I do love going out there, but most of the voters are here in like Las Vegas, Henderson, North Las Vegas.
okay. So you're going to focus your campaign to the, like Las Vegas City and those other bigger cities?
Essentially, yeah, a little bit. Like, I did the Mesquite Spring Festival. I vendored out there. I got to speak. I believe the Mesquite Republican women were the ones hosting it, but they were very nice to me.
Okay.
Even the Libertarian Party ended up getting a table, as well. So, but yeah, I mean, I always try to go everywhere.
Okay.
I want to speak to every voter, every disenfranchised voter, let them know that there is another option, but also that I believe like the race that I'm in shouldn't even be partisan. Sadly, it is. I will have an L next to my name, but I really believe that there's no politics going on in the recorder's office. It should be a nonpartisan position.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So, yeah, that sounds like it because it's not like a legislator where there's a lot of different issues that people have different opinions about. It's more about running an office efficiently. Is that correct, would you say?
Exactly. This is what I always tell people. I'm like, there's no Democratic way of doing records. There's no Republican way of doing records. There's no Libertarian way of doing records. There's only the right way. And that's what we need more of.
Great. Great. So, Stephen, how can our audience support your campaign?
Yes, my website is Stephen Borella for ClarkCountyRecorder.com, as well as my Instagram, Stephen Borella for Recorder, or my Facebook, Stephen Borella for Clark County Recorder. And if you do go to my website, which is again Stephen Borella for ClarkCountyRecorder.com, you are able to donate. Every donation helps, even if it's $2, $3, $10. Every donation helps. It helps me get to go to more events, host more events, vendor events, and things of that nature.
Great. It sounds like you have consistent branding across all those platforms.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Stephen, we thank you for coming on the podcast today and talking about your campaign, and we wish you all the best in your campaign and also everything else you do in your personal and professional life.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank y'all for having me. It really means a lot.
Sure thing. Take care and all the best.
You too, my